Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Temple of Speed. That is Monza for round 8 of the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour. Race number 2 of the weekend. And yesterday, it wasn't just the sun that shone brightly. Of course, it was Norbert Michaelis who took a commanding race victory in searing temperature, just like Neil Cole down there on the grid is in searing temperature. He's here finding out all the news and all of the stories and excitement from our drivers. It's brilliant to have Neil Cole with us this weekend here at Monza. And I dare say, in a few moments' time when we head down, he's probably got quite a few stories to find.
Hello, buongiorno, and welcome to Monza. It's round 8 of the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour. It's very exciting. As you can see, the grid is just about assembling behind me, and we are in for an incredible second race of this weekend, of the Race of Italy. If you were watching yesterday, you'll see that there was a lot of challenges and a lot of people made a lot of places up through the grid, and there's a lot of things to do with the fact that this track temperature, actually, it's about 10 degrees cooler than it was yesterday, but it's still 43, 44 degrees at the moment as the Italian sun bakes the asphalt. Our front 4 of the grid represent 4 different manufacturers, which is very good for the competitiveness of this series. Let's go and have a look at the man who is on pole. Remember, it's an 11-lap race, and pole, the top 10 for this race is reverse top 10 from qualifying. So as he has his final words with his engineer, let's try and jump in with Nestor. Now, of course, the car that was on pole yesterday was the BRC Hyundai of Norbert Michaelis, and he managed to convert lights to flag. Good morning, almost good afternoon to you. How are you, Nestor? Are you ready to lead from the front?
Yeah, all good. Car feels very good in the way to the grid. We did a practice start, also works very good. So, yeah, pretty confident for today.
And can you give us a sense of how you set up a car like this for a track like Monza? Because Monza is very, very specific, very fast corners.
Yeah, it's finding a compromise, because you have a slow corner, still Variante 1 and Variante 2, they are very important to get a good traction, but also going on the curve is very important to don't upset the car there, and finding the compromise also in Ascari, which is the fastest corner of the track. So it's been a little bit challenge for us with 30 kilos extra compensation weight, but I think we have a very good car in our pocket today, and let's try to do our best.
It was interesting yesterday, in fact, that Jan Ellerche with his 40 kilos, that didn't seem to slow him down too much around here, so hopefully that won't be an issue for you. And what's the strategy? Can you work with, where's your nearest teammates? Can you work with slipstreaming, or is it just you're on your own down to Prima Variante?
Not much to do here, just get a good launch and then trying to not mistake, trying to do the best job possible and score the maximum points.
Okay, well, you must give you confidence that Norby did it from this position yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, looks pretty good also. I have very confidence because I tried to start and was good, so let's see.
Good luck. Thank you. So that is a very good insight from Nestor Girolami. Just to demonstrate, that is the minimum amount of drag you can get on one of these rear wings, because you almost want as little downforce as possible, just because this first straight is over 1 kilometer long. Let's see if we can have a word with Nacho Montenegro, who's alongside Nestor on the front row of the grid. Do you mind if we have a quick word?
Yeah, no worries.
Which side are you going in? Tell us what, you've got an open view down to the Prima Variante here, with only one other car in front of you. What's the strategy from here?
Well, I mean, here, clearly, when you have clean air in front of your car, I mean, it's one of the most important things in Monza, no? Especially that after the race that we had yesterday, we got like many punches in other cars. It wasn't my case, but yeah, I will try to take the first position as soon as possible, to try to don't push a lot the front tire, especially the front left tire. So yeah, that is the main strategy. Then let's see what happened. Yesterday was a really good start what I did. Lap by lap and race by race, I'm understanding even more how the Honda works in the standing start. So yeah, today is gonna be the day that I have a really good opportunity to make a dream real. So yeah, I will go for it.
Good luck. Thanks for talking to us. So let's have a little walk down the pit lane. So there's John Philippi looks very good for this weekend. And just to reiterate how competitive it is, you have the 4 different manufacturers, the Cupra. Just have a quick word with Ruben. Sorry, Ruben, just a quick word. What are you listening to?
Music.
Thank you. Any particular flavour of music?
What fits the mood?
Okay. What's the plan for today? Because you're looking pretty good. Excuse the pun. You could make a charge through the field.
Yeah, that's what we were hoping yesterday, but others had other ideas. So yeah, I mean, yeah, we just have to move forward. Podium is on our side, so.
Okay. Well, good luck, and it's nice to see you. You've got some compensation weight as well to contend with. How does that affect things?
Yesterday we looked like we had the pace, but we have to think tire saving also. So.
Good luck. Thank you. A very talented young racer there, Ruben Volt. Now, one of the key things about this weekend, as well as the temperature, is that we are part of the ACI Racing Weekend. So there's a lot of track activity. There are also 2 different categories of TCR Italy racing here this weekend. Just a note for Jan Erlaché, still leads the championship. A very good race yesterday, came in second, and he'll probably work his way up again. Norby Mikulits, other breaking news. This is where Mikel Ascona should have been. Mikel Ascona, but he's at the back of the grid, took a 12th-place grid drop about an hour ago because they changed the engine in that Hyundai. So, one of the stars of this weekend is Jacopo Jimenez, who is racing in both TCR Italy and TCR World Tour. Let's have a quick word. Ciao. What are the challenges? What are your expectations here today?
Yes, yesterday we did very well, and today we hope even better. And thanks to my family, my sponsor, and my team.
Well, good luck. Thank you very much. So that's Jacopo Jimenez. Keep an eye on the 82. Remember as well, the numbers that don't have the 100 at the beginning are the wild cards or the guest entries. If they start with a 100, then they are our regulars. Now let's try and get one more word with Norby, because he knows more than anyone what it takes to win here, because he did it yesterday. So, Norby, sorry to break your concentration. If you could just give us one sentence about what the strategy is from this position on the grid today.
To gain 8 positions and then to lead the race, exiting P1 and 2.
And you think that's possible?
No, I was just joking. My target will be to stay out of trouble. Okay, I won't let anyone by, but for me the race is long, as you could see yesterday, so I will do my best to stay out of trouble. I will have a good car for today, and then let's wait for my chances.
So Norby Mikulits did himself some huge favours yesterday to move up to 5th, from nowhere to 5th in the standings, because he won yesterday's race. So another good race result today could rocket him even further up, but everyone is looking up for Jan Erlaché, who is currently leading, and I think we're nearly ready to go racing. It is 11 laps of this incredible classic circuit. I've got goosebumps because it's always amazing to be at Monza. So let's get ready to race.
Thank you very much. Neil Cole down there on the grid here at Monza. And just as Neil said, this is an historic, an iconic, a sensational place to go motor racing. Yesterday we had thrills, spills and drama all the way through the race, as you will expect in a touring car event. And I think race number 2, the final race of the weekend, the last time these cars will be needed in competitive action until we head over to Villarreal in a couple of weeks, might be even more exciting indeed. Just to cover off what Neil Cole mentioned down there on the grid as well, Mikel Ascona has had an engine change, so he was due to start in 9th position for this race, qualified 2nd for race 1 yesterday. He's been demoted 12 places, which puts him to the back of the grid in 18th position. Current information suggests he will start on the grid and not in pit lane. And as you can see on your screen, 28 degrees centigrade is the air temperature, 47 is the circuit. So it's another warm day here in Italy. Tyres, tyre wear, tyre management, tyre conservation is going to be a big talking point as well for these drivers. Lessons will be learnt from yesterday in terms of both setup and the aggression in which one uses the curbs around Monza. There'll be some moderation of driving. I am sure, as Beba Girolami is just warned to enjoy the race ahead. I dare say from pole position, he's got a good chance of enjoying it indeed. Plenty of people then watching here, as mentioned. It's part of the ACI racing weekend. Plenty of on-track action, but the real stars of the show are right here and right now. The Kumho FIA TCR World Tour. Third circuit that we visited this season. About to commence the 8th race. We started in Mexico City, and what a race that was. Then headed over just last weekend to the Circuit Ricardo Tormo in Valencia. And now it's the turn off the Temple of Speed. The quickest lap on the calendar. Of course, there's Monza. 1.1 kilometre is that back straight. Slipstream, oh so vitally important. As we saw in qualifying, as we saw in race number 1 yesterday afternoon. More of the same here again. Normally, I would suggest, on pole position, Beba Girolami will be happy. But actually, that's just the most vulnerable car to the slipstream impact behind. Next big question will be, will everybody make it through the Renifilio chicane down into T1? We didn't see that in race number 1. Again, lessons will be learnt. Opportunities will be taken. Hopefully for some of these drivers, John Filippi will be one of those drivers that'll be looking to take a little bit of opportunity out of this race. Finished in third. Starts from third position. DNF in race 1. Good opportunity to try and make amends for some of the dramas that fell the Frenchman's way. Plenty of drivers on a redemption arc, actually. Ruben Volt, that we spoke to on the grid, he's such a character, Ruben, isn't he? Absolutely fabulous value for money. A little bit like Kimi Raikkonen sometimes in his answers, but Ruben is devastatingly fast. He's got an opportunity indeed from 5th on the grid. Ted Bjork has an opportunity as well from 4th. He finished on the podium in the first race of the day. Ted, he'll be hoping he can at least repeat that one. With John Filippi, Nacho Montenegro, and Girolami in front, possibilities are there for Ted Bjork, the Swedish driver. Heart side up to the camera. Man who loves his motor racing, just like we all do. Having a good season is Ted Bjork. Finished third in race 1 from 5th on the grid. Has a smattering of good results. Race victory, of course, on the opening round in Mexico. So Bjork is definitely a driver that you have to pay consideration towards, shall we say, for a race victory coming into this one. Very, 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 very hot then. On the Monza tarmac, drivers doing their absolute best to keep cooled off. Mark my words, those blowers are incredibly cold. When you put into the race car, it does not cool things down very much at all. Stay hydrated, keep cool. Get into this concentration phase now for these drivers. Final few moments of the race where you just lock in your thoughts, visualise the lap, understand where the braking points are. Ready for that attack down into turn number 1. And all of those plans can be forgotten, because a good plan, folks, as we all know, never survives first contact. And heading down into that first corner here at Monza, mark my words, it will be a battle for our drivers, not just to survive, but try and claw their way through the field, if at all possible. Norbert Mikulis been promoted to 9th position on the grid, so that's 1 gained already for Norby, but he's lost his support partner, Mikel Azcona. He'll be hoping for a great start. Santiago Arrutia, 6th on the grid. He has an opportunity as well, but he's got Ted Bjork ahead of him. Interesting inter-team politics will be at play there. Will Arrutia get to the same part of the racetrack as Bjork? And if he does, how hard exactly will they be able to race? Final few preparations from the fans' trackside. Hopefully, the final few preparations for you good folks at home. In only a few moments' time, we will be going motor racing. And I've been looking forward to this one all day. It's going to be a fabulous race, I am sure. Jan Elishay, there you look there. He was, I don't want to say fortuitous, because it was a very good, fast drive, but a lot of cars fell away from Jan Elishay in race number 1. He got a 2nd position, which was a very welcome result indeed. It's going to be a little bit harder from 7th on the grid for Jan. Possibility, though. Opportunity still knocks for the French driver. Opportunity knocks for Aurelien Comte as well. Starting from 8th position for this race. Did not finish race number 1. A little bit of strife for the SP competition Cupra driver. So Aurelien hasn't really been given the opportunity yet to show the true pace of that machine under racing conditions. I'm sure you'll all agree, it will be very fascinating to see if he could be a bit of a disruptor. Started, qualified 3rd, no weight in that car, so Comte is quick. But of course, being quick's all fine if you don't make contact with others. So it'll be interesting to see what Aurelian Comp can do then from 8th on the grid. It'll be fascinating to see what Norbert Miklis can do. All weekend long, the story from our reigning double champion has been the balance of that Hyundai is fantastic. It does what Norbert Miklis wants it to do. There was a little bit of concern that maybe the ultimate pace isn't there, and the pole position was courtesy of great slipstreaming strategy. Race 1 suggests that's not the case, and that's a very fast race car indeed. Keep your eye out for the 9th place starting Norbert Miklis. Let's have a look at our grid then. Bebu Girolami from Nacho Montenegro, an all-Argentinian front row. John Felipe and Ted Bjork, 3rd and 4th. Ruben Volt starts from 5th alongside Santiago Urrutia. Jan Elische and Aurelian Compt are in 7th and 8th positions respectively. As we head a little bit further down the pack, in 9th place is Norbert Miklis from Jimenez in 10th. Felipe Fernandez starts 11th. Lionel Pernia will be in 12th position. The Argentinian driver just ahead of Marchingois and Esteban Gurrieri. Marco Butti for Goat Racing will start in 15th place, and Jacobo Raduzzi is in 16th position. Victor Anderson will be 17th, and starting last, courtesy of the engine change, is Mikel Azcona. 18th position for car number 196. The Spanish driver has a lot of work to do. Top and tailed by the BRC Hyundai N Squadra Corsa team. That's the view for pole position. That's the view that everybody craves at the start of a motor race. Clear circuit ahead. On-board cameras then for this race is Gabriele Tarquini and Gabriele Rizzo. And deep in conversation, on-board cameras then for this weekend we have Bebu Girolami in car number 9, 107 for Aurelian Compt, the 111 of Ted Bjork, and Bebu Girolami and Esteban Gurrieri. 4 on-board cameras catching all the action. Bebu Girolami will dearly hope that his shows nothing but clear racetrack between now and the checkered flag. I have a feeling, though, sometimes a hope of a clean race for a touring car driver usually doesn't work out as planned. We'll find out in a couple of minutes' time when we go motor racing. If you're watching this, by the way, on the TCR TV YouTube channel, a big warm welcome to you all. Make sure you check us out on social media as well, hashtag TCR Series. TCR Series social media channel, bringing you all the news, insight and background from the world of the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour and TCR Racing globally. Stay tuned for that one. Plenty of stories always unfolding around the wonderful, wonderful world of motorsport that we all enjoy. But don't do it just yet, because we've got a motor race on our hands. 11 laps. We can go up to 13 if there's a safety car, and that's what we're fighting for. Drivers' Championship points. Jan Elische currently has 20 more than anybody else in the 2025 season. Esteban Gurrieri, Santiago Urrutia being the closest challengers, although Ted Bjork only a 10 further back in 4th position. Definitely in the conversation. And we've just seen, courtesy of race number 1, Norbert Miklis, quite frankly, was nowhere in the standings, all the way down in 11th. He got a pole position, a race victory. Norby now very firmly in the conversation in 5th. Still work to do, of course, to close the gap down to the cars in front, but it's just a wonderful visual representation of how fortunes can change almost at the flick of a coin. You have to be in it. Andy Prio once said, leave no points on the table, score every one you can. You don't want to lose a championship by a single point at the end of the season. And that's exactly the mentality in the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour in 2025. Score big, make your worst day better than the worst day of your nearest rival. And usually, that puts you in some kind of position for the lottery that is Macau at the end of the season. And that's, folks, why we love what we love. You never know who's going to win it until the final checkered flag falls. It's a long time away, though, until we get to round 8 on the 13th and 16th of November in Macau. For now, let's concentrate on this, our European phase of the season. Monza in Italy, the famed banking. If you've ever been to Monza and you get the opportunity, cannot recommend enough going down to that banking. Very, very emotive scenes. But the new Temple of Speed, the current Temple of Speed, since the year 2000 we've run on this configuration, 5.793 kilometres or 3.6 miles, 11 corners, 4 to the left, 7 to the right, and nothing to do but go as fast as you possibly can. That's the name of the game. The one with the shortest time between green to checker. The one at the front of the pack will be the one crowned victorious. And that's what all 18 of these Kumho FIA TCR World Tour drivers, plus our special guests, are aiming to achieve in this race. Frederick Fallon there with a laptop. Lincoln Co. Cyan Racing nervously watching on as his chargers line up on the grid for Lincoln Co. Cyan Racing machines in this race. Matching Hua, those down in 13th position. The Chinese has a lot of work to do. A level of hush then descends upon the Monza circuit. The calm before the storm, the moment's peace before we go motor racing. The green flag waves at the back of the field, and the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour round number 8 is underway. Yellow flags wave a little bit further down the pipe. Everybody makes it away from the line. Here as makes no difference. Bebu, Girolami, Nacho, Montenegro, and all Argentinians sweep down into T1. Ted Bjork finds the middle line. Will he find any joy in that middle line? Nacho Montenegro is the one that misses out. A few drivers straight over the gravel to the inside of the first corner, avoiding dramas as we go. Montenegro rejoins the racetrack aggressively. Ted Bjork is the race leader. Bebu Girolami now to the Curva Grande under pressure from his compatriot Montenegro. Girolami though has the run. The inside line for the Curva Grande will become the outside line for the second chicane, but Girolami, fabulous stuff, gets the deal done. Ted Bjork, absolutely no opportunity. Nacho Montenegro dearly wishes that car was smaller to insert it into the minuscule gaps that are made available to him. Aurelian Kumho decides he enjoys the look of that fight. Can't quite get the nose of the Cupra to the inside. Stays in 4th position. Just back from him, Santiago Urrutia is climbing all over the back of the Hyundai ahead. And that little battle pack further down the running order sees Marco Butti and several drivers involved. Look at Norbert Mikulis though. Great start from Norby. Several places gained. Esteban Gurrieri having a look around the outside of John Filippi. Further down the pack, 1, 2, 3 cars wide as we run into Ascari. Gurrieri though is just about the one that makes it through. Position gain then for Esteban Gurrieri. Fabulous stuff from the GOAT racing driver as we get our way through Ascari's chicane. There's yellow flags in the background. Green again, though, for the run down into the Parabolica. It is Bebu Girolami leading from Ted Bjork and Nacho Montenegro. Aurelian Comte trying hard to get on the bottom step of the podium. Incredible stuff over these opening laps. Our front duo breakaway, but there is John Filippi. Didn't want to be out of the car. It's a nice day for the beach, but not in full fireproof overalls. John Filippi has stranded the car somewhere on the racetrack, and unfortunately, all of that excitement of the opening lap winds down to nothing as we fall into our first safety car intervention of the weekend to recover the stranded John Filippi. Didn't see that one on camera then exactly. What happened to Filippi? Hopefully we pick it up in a few moments' time. But wow, that's a long way away from the racing surface for the French driver. Looks like fortunately he's avoided any kind of contact with the barriers. So that's a bit of good news for John Filippi. Not good news though is the SP competition. Cupra Leon VZ TCR is very, very much done for the day. That's a good opportunity for me to remind you folks at home as well. It's an 11-lap motor race today at Monza. Because we're behind the safety car though, we do have it within the regulations to extend the race distance by a further 2 laps, giving us a total of 13. The marshals here at Monza, just like pretty much everywhere around the world, are absolutely top-notch. So they'll get that car out of the way very quickly indeed. And a big thank you to all of the marshals all around the world while I think of that topic. Okay then, while we're on the safety car conditions, it's been whispered in my ear that we're going to have a look at the replay of the start. So let's have a look then and unpick some of the dramas that unfolded at the beginning of this motor race. It was a good launch from the line for Bebu Girolami. A little bit further back, somebody was struggling away. I think that might have been Reduzzi struggling away from the line. But everybody made it down into T1. And Ted Bjork, that's the aggression that Ted needed. He couldn't find a way through the inside. I don't think there was contact between himself and Montenegro. But Montenegro elected to jump off the racing surface just to play it safe. And that is John Filippi being fired off into the gravel that we didn't see during the live. So unfortunately for John, a little bit of too many cars in too small of a space. Somebody has to miss out, and Mr. Filippi is the one that does so on that occasion. Unfortunately, it seems like John may well have been collecting ladders and herding black cats underneath them. Because the man just does not have good fortune this season, does he? John Filippi, and I'm afraid that is definitely not the sight that car number 127 would have been hoping for at this early stage in the race. Qualified so well yesterday in 3rd position. You know what? Sometimes just isn't your day, is it? I think John Filippi, 8th position in race 1. third for this one. Never mind for John, though. Nothing we can do about that one, I am afraid. So that's one DNF from the 18 cars that started this one. Victor Anderson had a little bit of early off-track running as well in the MNGP Lincoln Co, the orange machine. He's still running, though, now up in 17th position. And right on cue, the marshals do fabulous work, as mentioned. Big thank you to the Orange Army. All the troubles are cleared. The safety car is in. At the end of this lap, we're going to go motor racing once again. In effect, then, Néstor Girolami becomes the safety car, picks up the speed for the run down into the Parabolica, tries to catch Ted Bjork sleeping on this restart, and quite frankly, the Argentinian driver may have done just that. That's a fabulous restart from behind the safety car for Bebu Girolami. He's got himself the breathing room that he needs for the 1.1 kilometre run down into T1. He's going to be vulnerable for the slipstream, but I think he's got enough of a margin. However, a little bit further back, Esteban Gurrier is on a charge. Ruben Volt's the man he's trying to find a way past. Aurelian Comp looks to the outside of Nacho Montenegro. Second time of asking, though. It's all much more restrained at the front of the field. Montenegro holds on to that one. Then coming under pressure from Norbert Nicholas behind. No, what a start to the race for him. From 9th on the grid, already up in a 5th position. He wanted to pass 8 cars into T1. Well, not quite made that one from the joke with Neil Cole on the grid, but he is up in a 5th, the Hungarian driver having a sterling start to his motor race. Nacho Montenegro has to go defensive from Aurelian Comte. Maybe that's a little bit early. The threat wasn't quite there. Mikel Azcona moves up in a 12th position. Felipe Fernandez being his victim. Azcona on a recovery drive as well, remember. Started down in 18th position, avoided the opening lap strife, and he's on a bit of a charge. Santiago Urrutia, by the way, is keeping Norbert Michele's company behind the 112, the Uruguayan driver, making a bit of a nuisance of himself in the wing mirrors of Norbert Michelis, and that's bad news for the Hungarian. He'll be concentrating on behind rather than looking at making the attack up front, but he doesn't need to worry too much because Aurelian Comte and Nacho Montenegro have decided to take matters out of Norby's hands and have a bit of a squabble amongst themselves. Montenegro in the GOAT Racing Honda Civic doesn't quite look to have the pace at this stage in the motor race. He is the proverbial cork in the bottle, so to speak, in 3rd position. This could be an opportunity for Comte. Is he close enough? Has a look down to the inside. The Parabolica he is, you know. That's a good move from Aurelian Comte. Very late on the brakes. Did not look feasible at all until the final stage of the move, but Aurelian Comte confidently takes that position away and moves up to the bottom step of our provisional podium. Montenegro now, rather than counter-attacking that move, he's almost coming under more pressure from Norbert Michelis behind. The straight line speed of the BRC Hyundai N Squadra Corsa team has been a topic of strife in recent times, and Michelis doesn't quite have enough grunt on this occasion to pull up alongside Montenegro. But the balance of that Hyundai versus what looks to be a slightly struggling Honda at this moment in time suggests that Norbert Michelis is a man who is going to be held back for the minimal amount of time possible behind the 20-year-old Argentinian driver Nacho Montenegro ahead. While they continue to squabble, Aurelian Comte still can't quite get in contention with Ted Bjork. Comte, though, freed up from the squabble with Montenegro, has an opportunity now to try and extract as much pace as possible from the SP Competition Cupra and make it a 3-way fight at the front of our field. A little bit further back, there were several cars side by side, weren't they, in that shot? Ruben Volt, surprise, surprise, in the heat of battle is leading that charge. Esteban Gurrieri and a very sideways Marco Butti, and close behind as well. That's Mikel Azcona going side by side. Azcona very aggressive indeed. I think that was Mikel, was it? Yes, it was. It was Mikel Azcona and Lionel Pania. A little bit of contact between the two of them. Azcona gets the job done. A little bit further back, Ruben Volt and Esteban Gurrieri were side by side momentarily. Gurrieri has that one done and done. Pania drops down a couple of positions as well. Take a look at this fight, though. The front of the field, Bebu Girolami trying to defend from Ted Bjork. Aurelian Comte in no man's land. Then Nacho Montenegro and Norbert Michelis and Santiago Urrutia, almost like they're attached by a piece of string. Michelis to the inside. That's a late braking manoeuvre into Parabolica. Gets the car stopped. Snatches the grass as well for good measure on the apex. Norbert Michelis up to 4th. Montenegro continues to plummet down the order, but he does have the slipstream. The counter-attack is on for Nacho Montenegro. Nicholas sees the threat, covers the inside line, does Norby. He's going to be tight and vulnerable, though, into the Rettifilio. Can we find a line? Can we find an opportunity? Says Nacho Montenegro. Goes to the outside line, good on the middle pedal. Not quite good enough though. Michaelis sneaks through, holds on to that fourth position. Montenegro now has Santiago Urrutia for company. Jan Elishay further back has lost a position to Ruben Volt, drops down to 10th place. Guerrieri up in a 7th, but it's all eyes on this fight. 4th, 5th and 6th within the same breadth, the same shot, the same piece of tarmac. Little bit of an attacking look from Ted Bjork, same for Nacho Montenegro, but all looking and no doing at this moment in time. Montenegro, can he stem the flow of pace loss that's currently being experienced by that GOAT Racing Honda? It's going to be a big ask for car number 1, 2, 3. Montenegro with Santiago Urrutia, fired up 28-year-old Santiago Urrutia behind. Santi will be more than keen to find a way past and start challenging the traditional rivals to Lincoln Co. Cyan Racing. That is, of course, the BRC Hyundai and Squadra. Of course, team Mikkel Kona then in 10th. Elishay moves back up into 9th position. Ruben Volt doing stout work in 11th place. He's been up and down the running order like a yo-yo, it seems, in this little battle pack. Esteban Guerrieri heads that one just behind Marco Butti. There's Elishay, there's Volt, there is Mikkel Kona. He's just lost a position to Ruben Volt, so Volt up and down the running order. At least he's still in the motor race, he's still in the conversation. It's not quite working out as he wanted to. As there is one of the Hyundai Elantra, and that is Damiano Raduzzi, I think it was, just getting a little bit squirrely. Raduzzi has Marching Hua, a very, very under the radar, low-key Marching Hua this weekend. Still mirrored down there in 15th position, trying to find a way past Raduzzi. Ted Bjork is still trying to find a way past Bebu Girolami. Not too interested in the slipstream is Ted at this moment in time. Really Comptis though, that could be a mistake. Ted Bjork very aggressive on the defence there. That was an attack that turned into a last minute defence. Don't like to see that one too much. Aurelian Compt wouldn't have enjoyed that one iota. Good bit of driving from Aurelian, not to get too heavily wrapped up in this one, but Ted Bjork perhaps caught a little bit by surprise, going from the attacker to the defender in the blink of an eye. And mark my words, make no mistake folks, this is absolutely a three-way squabble for the win, with arguably the car with the least pace leading the pack. Absolutely fabulous stuff then from Bebu Nestor Girolami. He needs to be inch perfect, but Ted Bjork looks fast. He looks committed. That was a very nice run for the 111 through the chicane. Doesn't have an opportunity though into the first of the two Lesmo corners. Not really an overtaking place here at Monza. Lesmo 2 as well, exactly the same. Just trying to encourage Girolami to spend more of his attention looking behind than focusing ahead. But Ted has a real difficult position now to Aurelian Compt. Absolutely well and truly on the pace of our front two runners. He's fighting for that one. No, but Mikkel is closing slowly but surely in 4th position. And then that little battle pack that follows. A bit of the sting taken out of the tail in that squabble. All that energy, all that drama, all that excitement has very much been transposed onto these front three drivers. And I dare say for Norbert Michaelis, it's not going to be too long at all until he's very much in the conversation as well. Last time around a 55.5 for Norby, a 56.1 for our race leaders. There's going to be a four-way fight before too long. And for the BRC Hyundai and Squadra Corsa team, the sooner that Norbert Michaelis can get up into that fight, the happier they will be. Bit of support for Bebu Girolami, and more importantly for BRC, potentially some more points on offer for their double champion Norbert Michaelis. Take a look at this one then now. Aurelian Compt is the one with the launch. Aurelian Compt is the one with the overlap as well. He doesn't have the inside line, so the outside line is not where you want to be. Ted Bjork getting boxed in behind Bebu Girolami. Has to come off with a loud pedal. Be careful, Aurelian. These are sketchy times indeed. Compt just about gets the car stopped. Ted Bjork, though, he's got the run. Compt gets in racing room. Good driving by the 107. Very fair indeed. Bjork will have the inside line now through the Curva Grande. That's the shortest run to the next part of the racetrack, but Aurelian Compt can hold it side by side. If he can just hold that position, the outside will become the inside for the second chicane. This is the opportunity now. The second varianta is an overtaking position, but Aurelian Compt, bravery and tenacity, holds on to that one from Ted Bjork. Signal of intent though from the Swedish driver. Ted wants second position, and while they squabbled, that small fight, fractions of a difference, has brought Norbert Michaelis very, very much into contention now. 4 cars at the head of your pack. Game on for the race victory fight here at Monza. 7 laps of 12 in the books. And let's take a little look at what happened to Mikkel Kona. Goodness me, maybe even a little bit of contact as well with the back of the Honda. But Mikkel Kona goes on a wild ride makes it through the polystyrene boards, just about. There'll be no prizes there for slalom course, but Athkona just about survived. This is Ted Bjork, and this is the fight with Aurelian Comte. That was great driving from Aurelian. Often you see people just force their rival onto the outside curb, but Aurelian, much more of a gentleman than that one, gave Ted Bjork the racing room he deserved and kept the reward as Aurelian Comte holds on still to that second position. Nacho Montenegro still has Santiago Arrutia for company, and from 9th on down, everybody else is pretty much riding on top of each other. Really good racing here at Monza. It's a circuit that lends itself to good motor racing, some might say. And TCR touring cars almost always put on a great fight. Let's have a look then, see if Norbert Miklas has got a great fight in him. He's got a great slipstream, that's for sure. Ted Bjork decides to leave it late for the defensive manoeuvre, and so he does. Just closes that door off. Closer, in my opinion, to reactionary than preventative for Ted Bjork there. I'm sure the stewards will be keeping a bit of an eye on that one, make sure everybody is behaving themselves. But one thing is for sure, Ted is definitely keen to not let Norbert Miklas pass behind. Bebo Girolami, front of your field then on the defensive from Aurelian Comte. Girolami, the pace seems to be falling away a little bit from the Argentinian driver. Last time a 56.4 versus a 56.5, 56.2, 56.5 for those around. So it's pretty much even Stevens in terms of lap time, but very much not in terms of track position. Danilo Raduzzi, by the way, loses position to Marcin Hua. Sumar now moves up in a 14th place. Mikel Athkona still there in 13th, and there is right on cue. Lionel Pania in the next car that Mikel's trying to find his way past. Straight out the TCR South American Championship leader as well. Over here in the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour, Lionel Pania doing a very good job. Finished race 1 in 12th position yesterday. Started from 12th in the grid and is currently 12th in the race. So Lionel Pania doing a very good job, just on the fringes of the top 10. 15 years since he last came to Monza. Fabulous stuff. Aurelian Comte just has a little look, maybe more of a courtesy really than an overtaking attempt on Bebo Girolami, and this is what Girolami needs now. He needs a little bit of heat, a little bit of fight, the sting in this lead battle to dissipate slightly. Not only to give him some breathing room, take the pressure off, but also just to give those tyres an opportunity to calm down. Aurelian Comte at this moment in time is the driver that is forcing the pace in this one, and that's going to be a little bit uncomfortable for those around. In fact, what's going to be uncomfortable is Aurelian Comte has the overlap on the outside line. Nestor Girolami leaves it late on the brakes, defends the apex of both parts of the chicane. He's going to be vulnerable on corner exit. Which way do you go? Do you go outside or inside? Aurelian Comte decides the outside line is the line of choice, and this could be a very nice decision. Does he get it done in the Curva Grande? Yes, he does. Aurelian Comte on acceleration takes away the race lead. Didn't even need the second variante to take that position away from Bebo Girolami. We now have a new race leader. SP competition, French driver Aurelian Comte leads our slipstream chain. Ted Bjork just behind as well, trying to take advantage of what seems to be a now struggling Nestor Girolami. And if Aurelian Comte has the pace in that car, it's vital that Bjork makes the move quickly so he can close onto the back of the Frenchman before he manages to gap the warring trio behind. Girolami for BRC Hyundai, Bjork for Lincoln Co Cyan Racing, Miklas for BRC Hyundai. There's some team play to be had there, I'm absolutely sure, as Goat Racing also play the team game. Esteban Gurrieri being protected by wildcard teammate and TCR Europe driver Marco Butti, 7th and 8th positions respectively. So, does Bebo Girolami have the pace? As cars 27, 81, 155, 186 and 196 are all under investigation. 155 Marcin Hua, 186 being, of course, Esteban Gurrieri, and 196 being Mikel Athkona. Not quite sure what Gurrieri did to receive the wrath of the stewards, but hopefully for the Argentine in 7th, it's nothing too serious. Ted Bjork, small mistake on that last lap. It's just brought Norbert Miklas into the fight. Now Norby has his best opportunity of the race to get onto that bottom step of the podium, tracking the Swedish driver for the run down the 1.1 kilometre straight here at Monza. Inside line covered by Bjork. That's your one move. Bjork can move back onto the racing line if he so chooses. But there is Norbert Miklas trying to occupy that space that Ted Bjork eventually took away. Norby doesn't hold out too long in that manoeuvre. He's wily enough, he's sensible and experienced enough as the 40-year-old driver to not put the car in a dangerous position. And Ted Bjork holds on to third place. But again, that defensive manoeuvre making him vulnerable. Bjork, concentration on the fight behind, not the fight ahead. Really falling into the clutches now of Norbert Michaelis, giving Bebel Girolami an opportunity to try and recover some pace and stay in contention with the ballast-free, the compensation weight-free Aurelien Comte ahead. Fabulous, fabulous stuff all the way through round 8 of the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour here at Monza. This is Ruben Volt, not following the traditional racing line of the Monza racetrack, and there is bad news for the ALM Motorsports Honda machine. That is an issue on the front left of that car, and sadly Ruben Volt's trying weekend here at Monza strikes again. The Estonian driver, he will be on the world stage and he will win championships, you mark my words. But for today, 5th position only is what the Estonian has to show. 5th position on the grid, should I say, 13th position in race 1. History books will not tell the tale of the pace of that driver. Felipe Fernandez, by the way, in pit lane as well. So he drops down the timing screen. That moves Pinilla up into the top 10. As you can see, 1st, 2nd, 3rd and 4th positions still within the same shot. And still Norbert Michaelis trying to bleed as much straight line speed as he can out of that BRC Hyundai Elantra N TCR. In the slipstream, double slipstream as well. Ted Bjork trying to slipstream. Teammate Nestor Girolami ahead. It's a double benefit for Norby. Bjork leaving it late to go defensive, if he goes defensive at all. Just a gentle cover of the inside line into the Prima Variante, or the Rettifilio chicane as I still refer to. And Ted Bjork, now he's got the launch through, said first corner. Didn't have enough to get to the outside. The Curva Grande on Girolami doesn't have enough to really get in contention now, but Girolami sees a threat, goes a little bit defensive, does the Argentinian driver, trying to cover off any opportunity. Norbert Michaelis now sees this as his chance. Is Girolami backing the Swedish driver into his teammate? This is exactly what BRC need. They need these two to squabble. They need Norbert Michaelis past the pair of them. Would be the absolute ideal to try and kickstart Norby's 2025 campaign in terms of championship points. He got the points for pole position. He got the points for race 1 victory. What Norbert Michaelis would dearly like in this race is a 2nd position behind Aurelien Comte. Win, of course, would be the ideal, but 2nd position would be glorious for Norbert Michaelis. Easier said than done as Ted Bjork again looks to the inside, but again Nestor Girolami is being very conservative with his defensive drive, and I love to see this one. You always see drivers over-defending, compromising themselves, losing time, but Girolami being very conservative as a slow-moving Felipe Fernandez heads into the Parabolica. This could be nightmare fuel timing for our race leader. White flag for slow-moving car on the racetrack. Everybody will have to apply a sensible amount of caution, of course, to make sure they don't collect the Felipe Fernandez machine, and Felipe does a grand job keeping that car to the inside line, well and truly out the firing line. But is this opportunity knock time for Norbert Michaelis? The final lap we have just entered, that's gone quick, hasn't it? My goodness me, I've enjoyed this one. And Norbert Michaelis now, last lap, last opportunity. And he's got a very good run, does Norby. If he takes this one away, he will be given the position by Bebel Girolami. To the outside line goes Norbert Michaelis on Ted Bjork. Bjork gets the car stopped into the first corner very nicely indeed. Girolami runs deep as well. Girolami's compromised. This could be a great opportunity now for Norby. To the inside goes Ted Bjork. The inside line traditionally is the place you want to be, but that's going to convert to the outside when we get down to the 2nd chicane. Girolami has an opportunity now, but does he have the straight line speed to stay in contention on the final lap? Let's remember, Ted Bjork trying to take that 2nd position away. Girolami, though, very good on the brakes, holds on to the position. Norbert Michaelis buying into this one, the frantic final lap. You will not see in motorsports anywhere more than you're seeing right here and right now. Bebel Girolami, tyres have fallen off a cliff. The grip has gone away. The balance is no longer there, and Ted Bjork wants to take advantage. Norbert Michaelis wants to take advantage as well. The 105 almost off of the racetrack, trying to find a BRC Hyundai N Squadra Corsa size gap in which to insert himself. And Ted Bjork well aware of what is happening behind. Goes defensive again down into Ascari. Björk needs to be careful. Carry too much speed in here and you're going to be in a world of pain. Girolami, though, currently leads that little battle pack. Aurelian Comp leads the race overall. And Norbert Michaelis is running out of time, running out of opportunity and running out of potential as Marcin Hua climbs up into the top 10 at the expense of Lionel Pernilla. Final corner then, we come through as Aurelian Compt goes through as your race leader, Bebu Girolami in second. The fight continues for the bottom step of the podium. Ted Björk just about has that one, but Aurelian Compt for SP competition, he was absolutely unfaltered all race long, and with it, the reward of the checkered flag and a race victory in the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour, the first for Aurelian Compt, an SP competition, and done so in absolutely commanding style. Hugs all round from the team. Aurelian Compt will be delighted, I am sure. Stepped up to the World Tour from TCR Europe in 2024, and he's been one of the most impressive drivers of the season thus far. A nightmare Valencia weekend for car number 107. Well, those are memories that are put to bed well and truly. There is no tonic in the world like a winner's trophy to cure all ills, and Aurelian Compt will be delighted by that one, I am absolutely sure. Great performance then from the French driver. Bebu Girolami finishes second at the end after a brave defensive drive in the 129, and Ted Björk, with all the dramas of the final lap, came out on top in the 111 to round out the provisional podium positions. And the biggest winner of all, these people watching, and you good folks watching from home. What a motor race that was. I say it all the time, and I'm going to keep saying it until the day I die. I adore motor racing in TCR touring cars. If you ever wanted to show it to somebody who doesn't know what it is, that's probably a good race to show them. Probably not great for Lionel Penilla's family, because that's the car strands at the side of the road. So Pernilla, in some kind of post-race strife, classified in 15th, but lost an armful of positions in the final few moments of that motor race. Shame for the Argentinian driver. Here's a long way to come. That's Aurelian Compt. Yes, boy, that's what he's saying, but in French probably. And just look at that. I adore that. Just look at that. How much that means to Aurelian Compt. He'll be delighted with that race victory. His first one, as mentioned, in the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour. Last time he won was back in 2024 at Vallelunga in TCR Europe. Got a podium the opening weekend in Mexico City. But for our 2024 TCR Europe runner-up, 2017 TCR Europe Trophy champion, Aurelian Compt, there will be no sweeter taste than the taste of success here at Monza in the highest level of tin-top touring car racing anywhere in the world. The Kumho FIA TCR World Tour. And Aurelian Compt can now count himself, provisionally, of course, among the luminaries of race winners in this category. And he didn't win it by fortune either, did he? It wasn't a mixed-up race, it wasn't rain, it wasn't loads of DNFs ahead. It was pure pace. Victor Anderson struggling to the line as well. The MAGP machine looking like there's three wheels on the wagon. For Victor, he's been classified in 14th position. I'll be honest, I didn't catch if that was before or after the checkered flag. I think, looking at the time, 34 seconds away from our race winner. That probably happened just before the conclusion of the race. But Victor, another disappointing, difficult weekend for the 21-year-old Swedish driver. Home run team, MAGP, of course. They'll redouble their efforts and be back in action again next weekend, actually, at Misano for TCR Europe. Make sure you tune into TCR TV for that one. Be a great race, I am absolutely sure. Staying in Italy, so no doubt the weather will stay absolutely wonderful, which is never a bad thing until it comes time to work. But yeah, keep your eyes on that one. There's going to be a lot of race car drivers that are looking very tired indeed, apart from Aurelian Compt, who will have adrenaline coursing through every fibre of that man's being. He's more invincible than Arnold Schwarzenegger's Terminator 2, T-800, that was it, wasn't it? I lost the reference then, Paul, and spoiled it. But he will be absolutely euphoric, will Aurelian Compt. There we go. Get up there and celebrate, Aurelian. You absolutely deserve it. What a race victory. What a drive. Au revoir. Well done. Congratulations. There'll be a lot of shaking of hands and hugging and cheering, probably even crying at some point for Aurelian Compt team and family. So well-deserved victory there. Get the helmet and hands device off, get the gloves off. Can only begin to imagine how warm it is when you've just done a motor race in these conditions. But these are all sports people, elite sportsmen, of course. Very, very fit boys indeed in the World Tour. You need that fitness. You don't want to leave any performance out on the table. Bebo Girolami debriefing with his engineers. Yes, second position was good. Perhaps not what they were hoping for, though, come the end. Still a great point. Still a great result, though, for Bebo Girolami. P2 in race number 2. That one goes with Girolami's 6th position in race number 1. So good points.
Barcelona, I think we won, and Magny-Cours, but Barcelona was the race. And what are you doing?
There we go, to spying in on Ted Burke, making reacquaintances. How calm can you be? You just come out of a motor race and you're having a chit-chat with an old friend. Right then, provisional race 2 results. Rallying Comp, Bebo Girolami, Ted Bjork are our podium. Norbert Michaelis, Nacho Montenegro, Santiago Urrutia at the top 6. Esteban Guerrieri, Marco Butti, Jan Elishay and Marcin Hua round out the party for our top 10 finishers. And I do believe Mr. Neil Cole has our race winner down in Parc Ferme.
Aurélien Comte, congratulations, good job. Tell us how you did it, your first ever win in FIA TCR World Tour.
Yeah, it was incredible, the car. Thank you. And the goal, it was a good start, and I exited P4, so the car it was fantastic. So I'm focusing on my driving, be careful with the tire, and I take the P1. I don't know, it's fantastic. For the victory is for my wife, because it was difficult week for my family, so I'm happy for the result. Thanks a lot, ISP competition and Cupra.
Congratulations, thank you.
A very emotional race winner, Aurélien Comte then, taking his first victory, the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour, and this is how it affects the Drivers' Championship standings. 16 points now is the gap between Jan Elishay and Esteban Guerrieri, a further 11 back, Santiago Urrutia. Ted Bjork's done his title charge, a world of good, 30 in arrears, and in 5th position, 68 points away from the World Tour lead, Norbert Michaelis. His another very good performance from Norby, and that's helped out no end his championship charge. Right then, while we wait for the podium presentation, why don't we take a little look at some of the highlights from the race that we have just enjoyed. An iconic podium as you're ever likely to see, and some iconic scenes that we've just seen from the race that came before. What a motor race here in Monza. What a podium, what a scene. I've had the pleasure of being up there in the past, never as a sporting success, of course, and it really is a fabulous, very emotional place to stand. Can only imagine what it's like with the baying crowds and teams below you as you take your spoils of success, just like our Kumho FIA TCR World Tour drivers will be doing in a few moments' time, under the blazing sunshine, the blazing Italian sunshine of Monza. Let's get our podium celebrations underway. The first driver that will appear from behind the screens will be Sweden's Ted Bjork. Ted, Very strong performance once again. Still very firmly in the championship charge is the triple one. Swedish driver taking third place to join his third place from race number 1. Bebu Girolami up there in second, started from pole position, did Bebu. He'll be happy and yet disappointed at the same breath. 6th place in race 1, 2nd place in race 2. Strong points for the BRC Hyundai N Squadra Corsa driver. And then the man of the hour, the man of the moment, the one that the history books will say is a race winner at Monza in the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour. Aurelien Comte takes victory, making up somewhat for his DNF in race number 1. And the SP competition team take their first race victory as well. Now it's time for the French national anthem. That was a man who needs sunglasses to hold back the tears, wasn't it, for Aurelien Comte? It means a lot to the French driver, does this win, and so it should. This is many drivers work their entire career for these moments. Alberto Dossi, the board member of the Autodromo Monza, gives the 3rd position trophy then to Ted Bjork. Lovely trophies in the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour. Alberto Dossi again for 2nd position. Bebu Girolami, and your race winners trophy as well for Aurelien Comte. First one of those he's going to have in the trophy room, and I bet that goes right in the middle, doesn't it? And then the winning trophy for SP competition, our team that took the victory, the Cupra. Family photo time on the podium then. Last opportunity before the drivers douse themselves in the scent of victory, which is the winning champagne, of course. Beautiful scenes. And now it is time, in time-honoured fashion, to spray that champagne and celebrate what has been a successful, safe and exciting weekend of motor racing here at Monza, rounded out with a race victory. For Aurelien Comte, Norbert Miklis took the first victory of the weekend yesterday afternoon, and it was the turn of the French driver under the sunshine in the morning here at Monza to take win number 2 of the weekend, the first one of his career in the World Tour, and a victory that will go some way to boosting the confidence, I am sure, of Aurelien Comte as he charges onwards and upwards, starting with Villarreal in Portugal in just 2 weeks' time. Provisional drivers' points then on your screen once again. 68 points covers our top 6 drivers. Nacho Montenegro next up in 7th position. Quick reminder to you all then, we're back in action again at Villarreal on the weekend of the 4th and the 6th of July. Do not miss that one. Incredible circuit, driver's favourite, and always full of drama. Live as always on the TCR TV YouTube channel. From myself, Paul, Jeffrey, and the whole team, thanks for watching and goodbye.